So let me start with you, actually, Sarah, because we just heard Democrats are benefiting more from this than Republicans. Give us the Republican point of view.
Well, I'm sorry to say the Democrats are, but the GOP is coming, and we hope to be ready in 2 years to show that there's going to be just as many GOP women in the cycle in 2 years.
So what we just talked about was how many people are on the ballot. What's going to happen come Election Day? Is that number going to carry through in your estimation about who actually wins the races?
Well, we will certainly be adding more women as a whole to the House, which, as a woman, I'm thrilled about. But in the GOP, we will hold our seats, especially the organization I represent, Republican Main Street Partnership, because we do understand what women in our districts want, and we talk to them directly. So
let me turn to you, Jeanne, from the Democratic perspective. We just heard that people understand what women want, whether they're female or they're male, they understand that. Is that true in the races that you're seeing? Are both Republicans and Democrats really tailoring their message now to be more attractive to women?
Absolutely, because, you know, what we do know is that the midterm election this year is all about the woman at the voting booth, because women will decide this election, and also the women that are running for office. So it's an incredible year for women across the board, Republican and Democrat. And I agree with Sarah. We want more women running on both sides of the aisle. We never want to pigeonhole women as just liberal or just conservative, because just like the men, we represent a variety of ideologies and perspectives. So this is a very good thing. And I was thinking back, reading the piece on Bloomberg today, which is fabulous. It wasn't that long ago that I was teaching students a book called 9 and Counting. In 2001, the 9 women in the Senate got together from Republicans and Democrats, wrote a book called 9 and Counting. And we thought at that time, we probably won't ever get over the number 9. And to see 23 women in the Senate, it's not enough, but we are headed in the right direction.
So, Sarah, I want to come back to you, because whenever we talk about gender issues, it's tricky, because on the one hand, we want to make it clear women and men are totally equal in every respect. At the same time, they're not the same. There's a reason why you do need the women in there. To what extent are the issues that appeal to women in this election likely to be somewhat different from those appealing to men?
Sure. Well, as a woman, I would say every issue is a woman's issue, but we do focus a little bit more on like the right to try, cybersecurity. I call our women safety moms. We care about safeties of our family. So any legislation like opioid abuse, mental health, that will bring a safer environment, we're very supportive of.
How important, Jeanne, is the president, whether you like him or don't like him, in this election? I'm going to put up a graph right now on the economy that we've been using on Bloomberg for a couple of weeks now, showing that this president, the first one since Ronald Reagan, since before Ronald Reagan, that in fact his popularity has gone the other way from the popularity of the economy. In every other situation, the president's been more popular than the economy. This time, President Trump personally actually is less attractive than the economy.
Yeah, and it's all about people's feelings about him personally, because, of course, Republican women in particular do like the president's policies, but it's the president's personal behavior that has become problematic, particularly to women. And a few days ago, there was a poll out showing a record number of women across the board, about 70% of women in the country, frustrated with the president and the job he's doing. And again, it's not the policies necessarily, although Democratic women certainly don't like his policies, but it's about him personally. And that, as the Bloomberg piece makes clear, has driven up, actually, he has been a catalyst for increasing the number of women who decided to put themselves out there and run this year. On the Democratic side, particularly young women, we're going to see the first, the woman, Ocasio-Cortez in New York. She is the youngest woman now, she will be, ever elected to the House of Representatives, and she is not alone in that regard.
So, Sarah, we have to be mindful today, particularly, of Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings in the Senate, because we're about to hear, apparently, from Mr. Grassley, Senator Grassley, about whether they're going to go forward or not. Everybody now that we're hearing from is saying, we got to postpone this. We got to hear from Judge Kavanaugh again. We've got to hear about this woman who accuses him of misconduct back in high school. How is this going to play against the midterm elections? Because at one point it was thought the Republicans would really feature Judge Kavanaugh as a reason why you've got to elect Republicans.
Well, I think that we should delay it, and I think both sides need to be heard from. And then once the decision is made, then we'll move forward on that. And I think it's yet to be known how it's going to affect the women back in our GOP districts, to be honest.
So, Jeanne, what's your view on whether it will be a factor or not in the midterm?
I think Kavanaugh's nomination has already been a factor. I think the news we got over the weekend and this allegation is going to make it more of a factor. And I do agree. You need to postpone the vote. You need to allow both sides, the judge and the accuser, to speak. And the senators need to make this decision, because let's not forget, should Judge Kavanaugh assume the bench, this is the last time we publicly will get a chance to hear from him until he decides to speak again. That's why these hearings are so important.
So, Sarah, let me ask you an unfair question. It's the final question, basically. But for Ronan Farrow and but for the Me Too movement, would we be in the same position with Judge Kavanaugh today? If these allegations come up from high school, would we be in the same position? Or is this really a shift in the country about how we perceive this entire issue?
So we probably wouldn't be in the same position, but I'll tell you, as a woman and a mother of a daughter, I'm glad we are in this position and that we're standing up as women and being counted in.